Hey, and welcome into Real Conversations. I am Thomas Manning here with the Real to Real International Film Festival in Kings Mountain, North Carolina. I am so glad to be joined by Travis Stewart and Devin Peluso, the creators behind a remarkable short film called Spread Among Us, a bit of a post-apocalyptic thriller we have going on. And I'm just really glad to have you guys joining us here today.
Yeah, we're happy to be here. We're really
Yeah,
super
thank you so much for
excited.
having us.
Yeah. So I think just to get us started, we're gonna bit of an icebreaker question. If you guys want to dive into some of your background in filmmaking, just some of your general interests that have led to where you are right here and right now, making this incredible short film.
Uh, yeah, hi, my name's Travis. My background in film, I was an editor for a while in television, and decided that I wanted to direct one day because I've always wanted to tell stories my way, as opposed to someone else. And went to UNC School of the Arts. We're both in our fourth year now, and my interest in film mainly lies in drama, horror, you know, a little bit of comedy in there, but I'm kind of just want to tell stories that either inspire people or move people to think about, their lives, about society, about things that maybe need to change. Uh, that's kind of where my interests lie. Uh, that's kind of my mini biography. Devin, you want to take it?
Yeah, so my name's Devin Peluso, obviously. Um, I am from New England, born and raised in Connecticut. And yeah, like Travis said, we're both in our senior year UNC School of the Arts. I am studying in the producing discipline, although down the line, I'm hoping to have a career in both writing and directing. Uh, and yeah, like Travis was saying, I don't necessarily think that there's one genre that I'm attached to. This was actually the first horror film that I've made. Before that, I pretty much stuck to making comedies, dramas, slice of life pictures. But yeah, I wanted to start out my comfort zone a little bit with this, and we made Spread Among Us, and we're very happy with the product that we have, and hopefully a lot of people around the country will be happy with it as well.
Yeah, so when I was watching this film, a thought that I had and everybody else I've talked to, how relevant it is to what we have going on today with the COVID-19 pandemic. And I was wondering, had y'all completed production before the COVID-19 became much of an issue, or was it kind of in the midst that y'all were making everything?
So it was kind of in the midst, at least by the time we started actually filming the movie. The virus was kind of like this thing that was happening off somewhere across the ocean. So we knew about it, but there was the rumblings going on at school that this might actually become a problem here in the U.S. And once we were in post production, we had some pretty deep discussions about this film in particular and how it is relevant to what's going on now. And we actually did change some things with the film to adjust for that. Like a lot of the radio chatter you hear in the film is more specific
Quarantine.
to what's
Set.
currently happening
See
because we felt
shelter.
that once this gets out for people to see and gets into festivals and such, that there is something that you can take from this film regarding what's currently happening in society, how the tearing apart of society, how there's so much like mistrust going on. And the film pretty much is literally about a family breaking apart due to mistrust and this viral situation going on, creating this like apocalyptic situation. So yeah, it was kind of in the midst of it, and then we kind of like, so the film was originally written, which Devin wrote, prior to this happening. We changed it as we got closer to finishing the film.
So something I was really impressed with is how you kind of stretched out the suspense over the course of the 15-minute runtime of, very short film, but you kind of found a way to perfectly balance suspense without teasing the audience too much. So how difficult was it to find that perfect pace, just to make sure that you weren't annoying the audience with the teases, but stretching it out just enough?
A lot of that has to do with Devin's script, to be honest. There's not much dialogue in the film, and I was very pleased with that because that means that there's plenty of room for me as a director and the DP and all of us to kind of just spend time with the actors and just let the camera sit there and just let them take in a scene as opposed to trying to get to one thing to the other thing to the other thing to the other thing. To build suspense, you have to take time, right? And you have to give those little clues along the way without hitting them over the head with it. And Devin's script gave us that. So it actually wasn't difficult on my end to build the suspense because I had the room to do it. The key really came to how to make it effective was through the performances. That was like the big like waving flag on this film, was that we had to make this about performances. We had to get the right actors for this. If we didn't have the right actors, it wouldn't be convincing, the suspense wouldn't work. So thankfully we got very fortunate with that I got all the actors I wanted as my first choice actors all on board. And they really are the ones, along with Jacob's DP work on the film, really built some really suspenseful shots that we worked together to make. And I also think too, the low light in the film helps as well. There's a lot of shadows, and only using light when you have to use light, not knowing what's around the corners, not knowing what's in the shadows. I think that helps too. So it's kind of a combination of a lot of different things that came together really well.
Yeah, so you mentioned the performances there, and I think, of course, as the screenwriter and as the director, y'all both have a general idea of what you want to get out of the actors. And was it really a challenge to get the get the roles that you wanted, or did they kind of just bring to the table exactly what you were looking for?
Half my job as a director is to cast the film correctly, right? So that does most of the work, because I didn't really have to pull performances out of them necessarily. I just had to help them get into the headspace of the character while we were on set. And a lot of the times I didn't have to say anything. They just knew. We had plenty of talks beforehand about who the characters were, what they wanted, where they were headed, what the conflict is. And because I don't want to dictate to the actors what they're supposed to do, just let them take the material and do. That's why I cast them in that particular role.
You know, something I've been wondering, do y'all have any personal favorite, like post-apocalyptic or horror dramas kind of in this vein that kind of inspired you and you try to kind of mold this film after?
Devin, I'll let you take that one first. That's a loaded question.
It's specific to post-apocalyptic films or just in general?
Well, just anything that you kind of took influence from in your production here.
Gotcha. Well, I know in writing the script, it started more as like a cabin movie as I moved to show my cabin in the woods poster.
Yeah.
It was more of a cabin movie. So, you know, watching Evil Dead and Cabin in the Woods and all those fun kind of just slasher movies was kind of where it started. But as it became more and more about a family and being more thematic in that sense, the film It Comes at Night, Trey Edward Schultz film, that became a major influence for us. Hereditary, another family drama horror film, was a big source of inspiration for us. So it's, and I know Travis had separate, he kind of used his own inspiration. But it was kind of like those newer age family dramas that worked both as a drama and a horror film, which is, I think, why Hereditary works so well. And like with this, we had so many conversations throughout pre-production where, yes, it's a horror movie, but for us as the crew, it's a family drama. That's how we approached it. And obviously when an audience is watching it, they see it as a family drama. They might see it as a horror film. It's going to be whatever kind of floats their boat. But at least in terms of us creating this world and these characters and going into production on the film, it was always about the family and the characters, and was strictly a drama with elements of horror, if you will.
Yeah, and I'll back that up too about the drama part. That was like such an important thing, because like the best horror movies, in my opinion, I think in both of our opinions, Devin, are the ones where it's about drama, about characters, and not about the horror itself. Even though you got great gore fest like Evil Dead and all those kind of movies, those are great. But likewise, films that inspire me were like Hereditary and Midsommar, and like It Comes at Night, those kind of films, as well as films like Night of the Living Dead. That was a big influence on me in the process of this, simply because we're dealing with kind of zombie-like things. But like the drama though, because whenever you say horror to people, they immediately think like camp. They think of like, oh, you mean like, Halloween or like, gore fest stuff. I'm like, no, 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 like this is a story about a family, like Devin just said, with horrific elements that occur in it. And I think that's really what helped keep the whole crew and team focused on making the film what it is that they weren't thinking it was a horror movie. They were thinking they were just making a family drama with blood at points.
Right.
But that's it.
Yeah, like I think that horror without substance is just cheap scares, and it's nothing that really draws me in. But when y'all are able to develop something with so much soul at the core, like y'all did with this one, I'm instantly intrigued. So I really appreciate everything that y'all done with this one for sure.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Thank you.
whole group effort here.
yeah. And just one more note. Do y'all have any insight about the sound mixing or the Foley that you got to capture the sound of the zombie transformation? Any secrets you can reveal there? Because that's something that really struck me.
I'll take that one because I was working with our editor Zach directly about that. So okay, so there was no Foley on
Okay.
this. So we didn't have access to the facilities because everything was closed due to the virus. So this film was most of post production was done in quarantine. So Zach would send me the film, like a cut of the film. I look at it, send notes, send it back, and so forth, including sound design. So when it came down to sound design, it really was just taking a lot of like existing elements, like that we already had for sound, and mix them together. So I would say things like, like the man outside when you hear him transforming into the monster, and you don't see it but you hear it. That I wanted to be like there's this living, like, kind of like Alien or The Thing, where there's like this animalistic creature that is moving around inside him, and when it's coming out, just like bursting forth from his chest, his mouth, his legs, and you can hear the bones crunching, you can hear all that kind of stuff. It needed to sound real. So Zach did a terrific job of figuring out how to create like a new kind of zombie sound that feels visceral and based in reality. So when you're hearing like gory, gross sounds, it sounds like something you might actually hear in real life. And that was kind of the mantra. The mantra was to make it sound like this is something you could hear outside your door in real life. But he mostly just took, he makes things like dog sounds and like I think maybe a seal sound or something like, and he mixed it with like a bone crunching. Then he took audio of like Don, the old man actor, like making like groaning noises and mix it in. It was all really well. I wasn't there when he was actually doing it, but when he sent it to me, I was like, oh, yep, that's all it needed to be. I'm glad it turned out okay though.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. It just really got under my skin when I heard it. It just kind of was just really grinding feeling. But I think you did. I think that was your goal there. So you did a fantastic job as far as that's concerned.
Oh, thank you.
So before we wrap things up, is there anything else that you would like to mention just about the course of the production of this film? Any specific stories or elements that you would be happy to share with us?
I mean, I'll start, I guess, that I think first I want to give a shout out to the entire crew. It really was like a team effort on this one, and we all had the same exact vision, the same exact mindset. I've never been on a crew before where we were all so single-minded on what the film was. So there really wasn't ever any doubt about what we all wanted from this. And they're all so talented. Jacob, our DP, terrific job with the cinematography in this film. It looks great. Zach with editing, Ben with production design. That location was a complete random thing that just came out of nowhere. That was just, we saw it and we're like, hey, what if we walk up to that house and see what they say? And they let us do that. And that ended up being a whole character in itself. Sarah Sims, Ben, there's so many people to shout out to this, but yeah, that's what I would say right now. It's just like this was made over like what, 9 months? Was it something that long? Something crazy long time about since the script was maybe longer for you, Devin, writing the script and getting it made. And everything I remember from the film was just the collaboration and everyone just giving their A game, and then on set how everyone was like, they were like soldiers. They were just like so single-minded what was going on. It was great. But that's my reflection on the film. But Devin, you probably have your own.
Yeah, I mean, No, I was actually going to say the same exact thing. I mean, one of the things that we harped on in like the last phase of pre-production, about to be going out to shoot on location, was this is a very heavy movie, and it required us to be incredibly respectful of the actors' spaces. And so our AD Joe and I, our production team, we were all like kind of we were like little, like I said, like little soldiers just walking around making sure everyone was being quiet. And having such a quiet set, it really does, like Travis was saying, everyone's very single-minded. They know what their responsibilities are. They're just going to go do it. And they're going to continue to do that for the rest of the 12-hour shoot for 3 days. But at the same time, being in a dark, tight location where we have a fireplace on and off every few hours, where people are talking in hushed tones, it could be very difficult. And like there were times on set where, you know, morale might be lower than usual, but it was just very interesting seeing this film and working on other school films that maybe were like a comedy, for example, where everyone's kind of goofing around, and then you might end up, you know, not having the best product at the end. And so this was just really, I've said it before, and Travis just said it, and I'll say it again, just hats off to our crew, you know, from the keys down to the production assistants, just everybody was so respectful of the space and so respectful of the story and what was necessary to tell this.
The camera team,
I think, you know, I think, yeah. And I think the whole team is very, very happy and proud of what we accomplished with this film. So kudos to all of them.
Yeah, well, I think oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, good. I was going to give another shout out to Joe, because Joe really did kill it as a first AD.
Oh, yeah,
on this film, and gave us the peace of mind that we needed to make it happen. So shout out, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, I'm really glad I could have you guys on for this segment. Once again, we have Devin Peluso and Travis Stewart from Spread Among Us and North Carolina School of the Arts. And just guys, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to spend with us here on Real Conversations.
Thank you,
Thomas.
Yeah. So I think that's going to wrap it up for us. Once again, I'm Thomas Manning with the Reel to Reel International Film Festival. We will see you guys next time.